Hey, what's going on, guys? Jason Lore here with Jason Lore Photography and Films, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast series, Real Talks with Filmmakers. So, today's talk is going to be about day jobs for filmmakers. So, I'm going to be real with you guys first and foremost for those who are looking to pursue, a career as a filmmaker. And that is, it's a hard industry to break into, especially if you don't have any connections or any networks or anybody inside who could, throw your name to producers or actors or directors about, how talented you are. So if you don't have any of that stuff, then it's going to be really rough. It's not going to be impossible, but it's just going to take a lot longer compared to those who already have the connections inside. So while you're pursuing, that career as a filmmaker, there's one important thing that you have to keep in mind, and that is keeping yourself on your feet financially. And with that comes a day job. Now, as far as like day job goes, you may end up having to work in places that you don't want to, or worst case scenario, has nothing to do with filmmaking. I can tell you right now, like the job that I'm working at has nothing to do with filmmaking. My friends and family knows what I'm doing right now. Even my, you know, jobs in the past. I worked at a law office as an office manager, nothing to do with filmmaking. I worked at, a movie theater and Blockbusters. Yeah, you're surrounded by films, but you're not making any films, you know. And then, of course, before that, I was working at the farm and the farmer's market with my parents. Lots of people know how long I worked that job ever since I was a little kid up till like I was 21 when I moved out to college for film school. Nothing to do with filmmaking. But I can tell you this about all those day jobs that I worked up till up to this day job has nothing to do with filmmaking, but they did keep me on my feet. They were hard. They were not really the best at a lot of times, but you know what? They did put food on the table for me, put a roof over my head, and just kept me going. And believe it or not, a lot of those jobs actually got me the equipments that I needed, to get to where I am right now. When I was working at the farm, I've saved up enough money to where I put it towards a camcorder to where I can make, films, with me and my friends, my nephews and nieces. And, you know, I just really couldn't get filmmaking out of my head. It's like despite the jobs that I did, it was still going towards, my goals of becoming a filmmaker. And, I think like when you put aside like just the heartaches of these jobs, it's like you never lost focus of what you truly wanted to do, like from the beginning, and that is making films. So that's the important thing. And that's one of the things that makes like the journey so much more, much more inspiring, is the fact that you had to go through all these different jobs, to stay on your feet. And, you know, let's up it up a little bit why you also need a day job. Let's say you're married, you have kids. You're not just providing for yourself, but now you're providing for your kids, your wife, or your husband. And now it just becomes like so much more challenging. But that's all the more reasons why you need a day job too, is you're supporting yourself and you're supporting your family. And also, you're putting your income towards, your goal of becoming a filmmaker someday. It's not going to be impossible either. It is going to be more challenging. I know a friend, who wanted to be a screenwriter too. I gave him all the help I can give him. and all the guidebooks to being a screenwriter. But, when we get together and, I follow up with him about, okay, how far he is on his script. And, he tells me, look, man, I just haven't had the time. I'm just mentally exhausted when I get home. When I get home, my kids want to play, they want to hang out, and I don't want to be ignoring them. And, my wife wants to, spend time together too. So I just haven't had the time to write. And, like I said, I've just been so exhausted, and also I've been working on, some other projects too. So the struggle is real, you know, especially, having that day job too, because, you're working a different type of job that has nothing to do with, filmmaking. And that's already taken so much, out of your day, and also the energy out of you. So that's why, having a day job is, it can be rough, but then again, it's very essential to, your journey towards becoming a filmmaker. But at the same time, also, you know, um, taking care of like your needs at home as well, and also your responsibilities. Again, as a father, a mother, and, at the same time, also one day becoming a filmmaker too. And once you do get into, filmmaking as a career, you can finally let go of that day job. And now it becomes your job, throughout the whole day. Once you're done, you come home, you can be super dad or super mom, as you did with your day job. But it's just the point of having a day job is also grasping onto the reality that, you gotta pay your bills, you gotta put food on the table and a roof over your head, not just for yourself, but for all those around you. So just keep that in mind. It's not fun, especially if it's a job that has nothing to do with filmmaking, but it is a blessing in a yeah, it's a blessing in disguise. Or as I said a long time ago, uh, the things we dread ended up being our salvation. All the jobs that I ended up doing ended up being my salvation, because it taught me the meaning of hard work and an honest pay. And it also taught me that regardless of what I did in the past, as far as like job wise goes, I still wanted to be a filmmaker. I still want to write scripts. Like to be a part of making, my scripts into film someday. Until then, I'm going to keep working hard, keep up with, the day job currently, and making that time, to, to write my scripts and do my videos. And you know what? Thankfully, the relationship that I'm in right now, I was honest with him on the get go that I wanted to be a filmmaker. Despite the job that I'm working at right now, I still want to be a filmmaker, and this is what I got to do. And if you're all right with that, then shoot, let's let's keep going together. And that just also is very important. And I discussed this in another podcast episode about, relationships and filmmakers, is that, being honest from the get-go, with your partner or your wife or husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, just being honest with them that this is going to be, the road ahead, and you're going to need all that support you can get, while working this day job, and also pursuing your goals of becoming a filmmaker. So, yeah, just like I said, you keep your eyes on the prize, work hard, keep going with the day job, and you'll eventually get there.